All right. Hey, y'all. Welcome back to Dr. Cece Says, the Leveling Up Edition. So, y'all, tonight we are going to talk about self care, and that's for a number of reasons. One, y'all, it's been a week and it's just Wednesday, but it's already been a week. Two, we are wrapping up Women's History Month, and women always need to know about self care, and we always need to implement self care and helpful self care as women. And three, self care is just something that everybody needs, right? Not just women. Everyone could use a good self care regimen. And so, when people think about self care, they think about activities, right? So, oh, I'm gonna go get a massage, or I'm gonna get my nails done. I'm gonna do this, or I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna take a day off work, or I'm gonna, make sure that we go on a vacation in the summer. And all of those things can be self care activities. But what we want to talk about tonight is a self care mindset, because the mindset is what we really need in order to make sure that we are living these happy, healthy, and whole lives that we really want to live. All right. So, as usual, if you are in the building, please drop hey, hello, hi, what it do, whatever you want to say, drop it in the chat so I know that you're here with me. If you are catching the replay, drop hashtag replay in the chat. All right. And so I see I got a couple of people on, so y'all go ahead and say hello. I'm going to be asking some questions tonight. Whether you want to answer in the chat or not, make sure that you are listening, you're taking it in, and you might need to make some mental notes for yourself, okay? So, I said a minute ago that it has been a week. And we're only on Wednesday, and that is true. I see my sister Glennie is on. Hey, Glennie. Hey, Danielle. Good to see you, sis. So yeah, so y'all, it's been a week. Okay. Um, I'm sure a lot of you have probably heard about the school shooting that took place in Nashville. So mass shootings are difficult for me anyway. One, because I am like a really empathetic person. And so my other empaths out there, you understand, like you feel what other people feel, even if you don't know them, right? And so mass shootings are always difficult for me. But when you throw in that it's a school shooting, which means that babies lost their lives, that makes it real difficult for me. Hey sis, good to see you. But that makes it real difficult for me. So just kind of thinking about that, thinking about the state of our country, and then in addition to that, right, also just having responsibilities, right? Like y'all, we have stuff to do all the time. And if you think about it, a lot of times we have our stuff to do, and then other people expect us to do their stuff as well. And so we're going to talk about tonight how boundary setting is a part of our self-care. Because we already have enough that we dealing with. But then to add on other people's stuff, other people's responsibilities, that takes it to a different level. Okay, so there is an author. She's a mindset coach, pretty famous, Jeanette Bronet, who created a book called The Self Care Mindset. And so in her book, she is talking about how we can really change how we look at self care if we think about it as a mindset versus thinking about it as a list of things to do. So she, gives the example. A lot of times people will say, okay, well, I'm going to do self care on the weekend because I'm working so hard during the week. And so my self care is to help me de stress from my job. So instead of doing it that way, what if we think about ways to implement self care even during the work week, even while we're on our job? So you're not having to recover and recuperate on the weekends and spending your whole weekend trying to rest up so you can go back in the office and do it again the next week, but actually making your week more enjoyable, de stressing in the week. And so, it's not a novel concept, but I do think it's a way of thinking about self care that not a lot of people do. Right, so we have plenty of checklists. We have plenty of, apps and different things that will tell us, oh, make sure you go outside and you breathe in fresh air at 2 o'clock p.m., right? Or make sure on the weekends you are doing retail therapy, or you are going to get a massage, or you're getting a mani and pedi. Nothing is wrong with those things. But how do we make sure that there's not so much stress during the week or on the weekends, whenever, that we have to recover from? What are some things that we can change about how we approach self care that will make sure that self care is not like this, thing that's almost untouchable that we have to schedule time for, but it is a regular routine part of our schedule. Yeah. Hey, sis, I see JJ on here. Yeah. So, y'all, I did a talk last week for a group at Hopkins, and it was about self care for healthcare providers. And it was an awesome conversation because, a lot of things came up about what gets in the way of us implementing self care, what gets in the way of us doing some of the things that we know would help us. And again, going back to this self care mindset, if we are implementing it all the time, if it is a natural, normal part of our routine and our schedule, then you don't have to implement something. You just have to be. It's a part of your life, right? Hey, Shay, good to see you. Yeah, so y'all, I'm gonna share a little bit about what my self-care mindset has grown to be. Not what it's always been, but what I have gotten to at this point in my life. I see my sis Tasha said, took me a self care day today. Absolutely. And so, one of the things we're talking about with this self care mindset, and I'm going to ask this one of my first questions, okay? How many of us realize that we should be taking our PTO? So by a show of hands in the comments, you can say, yes, I realized that, or I just started realizing that. But how many people realize that we should be taking our time off? And how many people like me, I'm gonna raise my hand here, used to save up my time for a big trip, right? Ooh, I'm gonna save up my time until the summer. Because y'all, I was in school for so long. You got summer breaks. You work real hard during the school year, and then you have a summer break. And so, even when I started working and I started being a professional, I would try to save up my time for these summer breaks. Y'all, we can't live like that. Just like people saying, "Ooh, I'm working real hard Monday through Friday. I either hate what I'm doing or I hate how hard I'm having to work, but I'm living for the weekend." Y'all, we can't live for the weekend. We can't. We got to make sure that we are enjoying life even during the week. And y'all, it's a message in there about everything. I see some hands in the chat. Thank y'all. I see it's a message in there for every different part of your life. What are you doing while you are waiting? Right? So if we're waiting on marriage, if we're waiting on having a kid, if we're waiting on getting a new job, what are you living? We have to make sure we're living even while we're waiting to get to that next point. So we can't live for the weekend. If you used to say that, stop saying that. We not living for the weekend. We live in every single day. Okay? Because our days are numbered and we don't know the day nor the hour. So we got to live while we can. All right. Let's see. Glennis said yes, or for a big move to have. Yep, exactly. Tasha said used to save it, but now I'm more intentional. And sis, that's our word, intentionality. Whatever you're doing, make sure that you are being intentional about it. How many times do we keep going, 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 and then we look up and a whole month has passed? I know that's happened to me, right? How many folks have said, I've heard it multiple times this month, yeah, we already in March, right? I heard that multiple times in March. Where did February go, right? That's because we're not stopping and being intentional about what we're doing. Yeah. Jay said, put that on the shirt. Yeah. Living while waiting. Y'all, we got to live. Absolutely. Yeah. Shay said she used to save up for her birthday and a trip. Exactly. But y'all, we still got to live in the midst of all of that. Yeah. Daniel said, for the first time in 10 years, I'm taking up. Come on. Listen, you supposed to get a break. How many of y'all know you supposed to have a break? Y'all can drop me in the chat. How many of y'all did it take a while for you to learn that you were supposed to have a break? How many of you all used to feel some kind of way about taking time off or taking a break or having to say to someone, I need a break? I know that was me, right? When we go to that black woman, superwoman kind of mindset, right? We think we're supposed to do it all. We're supposed to have it all together all the time. We shouldn't have to ask for help. We shouldn't need any help. We supposed to figure it out no matter what. Y'all, that's killing folks. That's taking folks on out of here. And so we got to get away from that. Okay. Yeah, Shay says she say it all the time. Yeah. Yeah, so y'all, and that's why mindset is so important. And that's why I really wanted to talk about the self-care mindset. Because this is not like I can say this all day, but unless we believe it, right, nothing will actually change. Yeah, JJ said definitely feel guilty a week. Yep, for needing or wanting a break. And look, this is what I want us to do. Don't wait until you need the break. Take the break early enough that you don't get to the place where now you can't function unless you get the break. Right? So this, like I tell my patients in therapy, if you need to take breaks because you got ADHD or anxiety or depression or whatever it is, don't wait until now you done had the meltdown and everybody know you need the break. Take the break ahead of time so you can stay in what you're doing and be productive and keep your sanity, right? Because that's the whole goal. Yes, we want to be productive. Yes, we want to have an impact on the world. We want to do all of that. And we want to be happy, healthy, and whole. And we can have all of that, y'all. So okay, I'm gonna get to my mindset. Hold on. So I shared this with part of the group at Hopkins, and it was interesting to see the wheels turning, and a lot of people resonated with it, and some people had a little bit of difficulty with it. Like, oh, I don't know if I can say, that I agree with all of that. I don't know that those would be my same statements. That's totally okay. These weren't always my statements. Right? I wasn't always in a place where I could say each and every one of these and believed it wholeheartedly. But I have gotten to that place, and other people can get to that place too. So, one of my things, taking care of myself is a requirement. That is part of my self-care mindset. Taking care of myself is a requirement. This is not optional. This is not when I feel like it. This isn't if I get to it. This is a requirement. It's a must. It has to happen. How many of you all can say that you wholeheartedly believe that it is a requirement to take care of yourself? And you all can drop me in the chat, or you can just kind of hold on to it and make a mental note. Either way. I see hubby has entered the chat. Hey, hubby. Yeah, productivity is a moving target. It is. Absolutely. Absolutely. But yeah, how many folks can say that that taking care of yourself is a requirement? Yeah, Kevin said him. Yeah, Glennie said yes. Absolutely. Y'all, the example of putting your mask on the plane, right? So if something happens on the plane, God forbid, but if something happens on the plane and the mask come down, you're supposed to put your mask on first. Why? Because in order for you to help somebody else, you got to be in the position to render help, right? So if you about to pass out, you can't render help to somebody else. So you being in optimal like health is what helps other people if you care about helping other folks like that. Yeah. Hey, Sarah. Yes. So, second part of my self-care mindset, engaging in self-care is not selfish. How many of us know that? It is not selfish to engage in self-care. We're actually supposed to do it. And y'all, I'm a missionary Baptist. And so I always feel like God has given me a word and a sermon for somebody's preacher to preach. And so what has been sticking out recently is the part where God says, love your neighbor as yourself, right? The love your neighbor as yourself part. Have y'all ever thought about that meant we were supposed to love ourselves? Like, I know I used to always concentrate on that first part. Okay, I got to love my neighbor. Y'all, he said, as you love yourself. That means what? Self love got to be there. So that's a sermon. One of y'all tell y'all preachers to preach that. That's a whole sermon. Okay. Yeah, Glennis said no, it's not. It's a huge boundary. Yep, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, Jay, you know I'm Southern Missionary Baptist on a good day. Yeah. Glennie, I was the same way. When it hit me, I was like, wait, God talk about self-love. Look at that. Because I think a lot of times we are given the message that we're supposed to put others before ourselves. And there are absolutely times where we need to think of others and we need to make sure that other people are all right. And we ought to use our gifts and our time and our talents and our tithe, right, for other people. And also, there's a spot in there for self love. Look at that. Yeah. So, ooh, come on, Jay, you preaching. She said that's why some people can't love their neighbors. Exactly, because they don't love themselves. So, y'all, self care is not selfish. If you think about it, self care actually helps. And that's another part of my mindset, my self care mindset. My self care benefits other people. Right? So it is the opposite of selfish because if I am operating the way I need to operate, if I am happy, healthy, and whole, then guess what? That means that whatever I'm putting out, whoever I'm helping, whatever productivity, whatever effectiveness, whatever impact I'm supposed to be having, it is going to be at the level it's supposed to be because I am operating in optimal health. Right? So y'all, that's really another part of that requirement. If God has given you something to do, you need to be in optimal health so you can carry it out the way that God intended for you to carry it out. Y'all, they hit me. Okay. Yeah. So let's make sure because we love to and I think everybody on here that I see, I know y'all love the Lord and I know y'all called according to his purpose. Let's make sure that we are doing what God said do in excellence. Okay? And the way we do that is to make sure that we are operating at our best. Y'all, that's physical, that's emotional, that's spiritual, that's financial, that's emotional. I'm going to go back to that one because that one a big one, right? Emotional. Let's make sure that we are operating where we're supposed to be. Okay? Yeah. Hey, sis. I see you on here, Toya. Yeah. All right. So y'all, here's another one, another part of my self-care mindset. My work is valuable, and so am I. How many of us knew that? Our work is valuable, and so are we. So it's not just about what I put out, it's about me, right? It's about my health, it's about my wellness. And if I'm in the proper place, if I am in optimal health, then guess what? What I put out will be done in excellence. So yes, my work is important. Yes, the impact is important. And so am I. Yeah. Yeah. All right. Oh, and my last one, y'all. I deserve to be happy, healthy, and whole. Now that one I think we can say on the surface, yeah, I deserve that. But when you think about it, how many times have you operated in a way that was not in agreement with you deserving to be happy, healthy, and whole? How many times have you acted as though you didn't deserve all the good things that God has for you? And I will say, I think some of the things we were taught, at least for me, let me speak for me, some of the things that I was either taught or I picked up growing up would say, hey, you're rich, like God saves you is only by his grace. God did save me. It was by his grace, and I was made in his image. I am beautifully and wonderfully made. I deserve all the love that God has for me because I'm his child. right? And I think we miss that second part sometimes, and we hold on too much to the flaws and the sin and all the things that can keep us away from God's blessings. And so we don't always walk around acting and operating like we deserve to be happy, healthy, and whole. Like we deserve God's blessings, like we deserve love. We might say it out of our mouth, but we don't believe it in our heart. And so, y'all, that's a mindset shift as well. Yeah. So y'all drop some comments for me in the chat. I see hubby is doing all of my points. I love it. Yeah. Glennie said yes to all, but I'm so good at encouraging others, but not sticking to it for yourself. Yeah, I'm still a work in progress. Sis, we are all a work in progress. Absolutely. Right? What we have to remember though, like you said, you do it for others, you encourage others. That same love, going back to that scripture, love your neighbor as yourself. Start with you. Right? There's another scripture that says charity starts at home and spreads abroad. Another interpretation would be love starts at home and spreads abroad. Start with you. Make sure that you are loving you and you can give that love that you so freely give. I can say, Glennie, right? I know you give it freely. So make sure you're giving that to yourself too. Yeah. Tasha says she's guilty too. Yeah. Okay, my brother just got in the chat. He said, what are we discussing? We are discussing self-care. JJ Cub, help him. We are discussing how do we think about self-care in such a way that we are not trying to get it where we can, but we are actually incorporating it into all parts of our life. Yeah. Yeah. JJ, operate like you believe you deserve. Exactly. Listen, y'all, it's so much. Let me tell y'all, it's so much. We need to act like we deserve to be in the spaces that we're in because we do. We need to act like we deserve the blessings that God has given us because we do. We need to act like we deserve to be happy, healthy, and whole because we do. God said, I come that you might have life and have life more abundantly. He ain't said that I came for you to be broke, busted, disgusted, and depressed. He didn't say that, right? He said, I come that you might have life. Going back to we need to live. Live while waiting. Live all the time. I come that you might have life and have it more abundantly. He also tells us that he has more for us than we could think or even imagine. So it's not Jesus, it's not God that's around here telling us to act this way. It's stuff going on sometimes on the inside of us, right? Sometimes it's insecurity. Sometimes we heard the message wrong, right? Sometimes we got the wrong message. Sometimes it's self-hate. And y'all, sometimes it's stuff that comes from outside of us. Sometimes it's because of expectations that other people put on us. Sometimes it comes from shaming that other people are doing or manipulating, right? So you have to see that for what it is and know that that's not you. That's not of you. That's not of God, right? That's on them. So my speaking coach, Dr. G, loves to say, right, if your light is too bright for someone else, they can put on shades. Right. And I love that. I love that saying because what that means is whatever I got going on over here, it don't have anything to do with you. If you are offended by who God has created me to be, that's your offense. That's something for you to deal with. That has nothing to do with me. And I'm going to respectfully decline all of that. Absolutely. Yeah. Come on. JJ said abundance is one of her words. Yeah. Come on. Okay. So y'all, as I was thinking about self-care, and I was thinking about the stuff that has happened over, past week or two. I know I have people that I know and love who are dealing with illness right now. They're dealing with heartbreak. They're dealing with a lot of things, and they're still trying to go and do and be responsible for their stuff, right? And then sometimes people try to give them some of their stuff. So now they trying to deal with their stuff and then deal with somebody else's stuff. Y'all, that's not good self-care. Okay. So when we think about the self care mindset, one of the things that we talk about is boundary setting. And so I talked about this with the group at Hopkins last week as well. And so, just a few parts, and y'all know if you've been following me, you know I talk about boundary setting a lot. I talk about your no being your no, right? And your no being an entire statement. You don't have to give an explanation. No is enough by itself. Now, if you would like to give some more explanation or you want to give some context, sure, okay? But you don't have to. Just know that. All right. So, a couple of other parts of boundary setting. Know and respect your limitations. Yeah, it's humbling when you actually acknowledge your limitations. So again, we talking about, being women. This is Women's History Month. And for our men on here, y'all do this sometimes as well, especially the ones on here that I know, right? You will take on more than you need to because you think you're supposed to. Yeah, we got to stop doing that. And we got to be okay saying, you know what? This my limit right here. This is it right here. And I'm okay with that. Right. So I think sometimes we get a little embarrassed or we feel some type of way, we feel like we weak or something like that. Mm-mm, mm-mm. Know your limitations. Because when you don't, what ends up happening is you take on too much and now you stressed, you likely to stress somebody else out in the process. So now you strain in a relationship that you got, right? And now you are not only not being productive, but you might even be hindering some other folks and you definitely hindering yourself. All right. So we got to know and respect our limitations. Yeah. Sora Pam says, say no and mean no. Absolutely. Absolutely. That is my favorite one when I talk about boundary setting. No. No explanation. No. Yeah. And y'all, I had to practice that in the last couple of days. I hadn't had to do it in a while, but I had to in the last couple of days. I had to say no, and I found myself trying to explain. I said, oh, wait, no, we just going to say no. That's it. No is a whole sentence. All right. Delegate when appropriate. And this is in all spaces, not just at work. Y'all can delegate stuff at home too, right? If you're not the only one in your household, other people can do stuff in your household. How many folks drop me in the chat if you delegate at home and at work? Now I'll wait for y'all to drop some. And if you not doing that, but you working on it, drop working on it in the chat. Now y'all, delegating is something that, again, when I stopped trying to be superwoman, and when I stopped trying to have all the answers and think I needed to know everything and do everything on my own, delegating started to come easy for me. Yeah, and people like, oh, you want me to take? Yes, do it. Absolutely. Well, you want me to check in with you? You don't have to. I'm sure you are well equipped to handle the task. By all means, please do it. Yeah, so sis said that's area of growth. Jay said working on it. Yeah, and that's all right. That's all right. We can work on it. Absolutely. Yeah. Effectively communicate your boundaries. Y'all, I saw this in action today in a therapy session. So it wasn't one of my patients, it was one of my supervisees' patients. And the dad had some expectations and he had some boundaries that he wanted to set up, but y'all, he didn't communicate the boundaries. So he comes in the session and he's upset at the kid and the mom because they had overstepped his boundaries. And so my postdoc did a very good job of being like, so when did you share those boundaries with other people? And he hadn't shared them. So y'all, we can create all of these great boundaries in our head. We have to make sure we communicate them to other folks, right? We actually have to say them out loud because people don't know. They don't have to have the same boundaries that you do. And a lot of times people don't, right? So whereas like people can call me We can text, you all can DM me, and I will talk, for as long as we need to talk. A lot of times, right? That is a hard boundary for other people I know, other therapists, other psychologists, other speakers. There's a hard boundary there. That's just not a boundary for me, right? But I do have other very clear boundaries that I will communicate to people, right? So for instance, negativity, that's a clear boundary for me. Right. So now if you want me to listen to what's going on in your life, and then you want to hear some suggestions, or you want me to do some encouragement and all that, I'll do that, right? When it gets to a place where it's just negativity and we're not really trying to problem solve, you just kind of want to sit and waddle in it, I can't do that. That irks my spirit. So that's a clear boundary for me. All right. So we all have different boundaries. We just need to communicate them to people. Yeah. I love that, Sarah Pam. Sarah Pam said, delegate means you can share. Absolutely. And so, real quick, funny story. Sarah Pam, I used to tell people I don't share well, right? I wasn't the only child. My brother is on here, but JJ Culpepper and I are about 11 years apart. Sometimes we 12 years apart. Depends on when our birthdays hit, right? Right now, we are 11 years apart. And so, even though I wasn't an only child, I didn't have to share, right, like toys and stuff with Jay, because Jay was grown at the time, right? And so, or getting to be grown. So, I haven't always shared well. And I've always wanted to take care of whatever I was given. And there was a time when I did not think that other people could take care of it the same way as me, right? That's not true. Other people have the same ability, if not better ability, to do some things. And so we do absolutely need to share. And I love that. Delegating means to share. I love it. Yes. Y'all, another one, check in with yourself. This is another part of boundary setting. Do we always know what we have the capacity for? Do we know what it is that we really can handle? This is something that I've started doing a lot because I have a lot on my plate. I love the stuff that I have on my plate right now. And so I don't mind doing it, but I do have to do these check ins. And so something that maybe, back in January I had the capacity for, I'm not going to have the capacity for it in July. Why? Y'all, the conference coming up. Yes, that was a shameless plug. Free Before 40 conference happening Saturday, July 15th, 2023 in Baltimore. Yes. So some stuff that I'm able to do and maneuver and drop in for and all of this now. Yeah, my time going to be real short in July. And so we have to know that our capacity for things change depending on what goes on in our life. And that's okay. Right. I saw one of my next level sisters say today she's about to have her first baby. We are so happy for JoJo to get here. And she said, oh, y'all, this is the first time that I'm taking a leave of absence. She's a school teacher. She loves her babies at school. And she said, this is the first time I'm taking a leave of absence from school. She said, I'm going to have my own baby, but I feel like I'm leaving my babies. Right? She said, but this is what I have to do. And it is. She doesn't have the capacity for her babies at school right now because she's about to bring forth life. Right? So, y'all, we have to check in. We have to check in with ourselves. Glennie said, now I do. I knew I had. Uh-huh. Yeah. JJ said, I love a good shameless plug. Yes, sis, I have to get it in. Yeah. So, y'all, make sure you checking in. Check in with yourself. And my last part on boundary setting, refill your cup before you fill others. Yeah, there is a poem that I love. I can't recite the whole thing, but the gist of it is, I am drinking from my saucer because my cup has overflowed. And it's a beautiful poem. If you Google those words, you should find it. But the idea is, my cup is so full that now I can take things from the saucer that's holding the cup, right? I can give from the saucer. And if I'm giving from the saucer, guess what? The cup is continuing to be full. Y'all, now we give from our cups all the time, right? Women, men alike, but especially women. I'm talking to y'all right now. We give from our cups all the time. We are caretakers. We are the ones in the boardrooms and in other places where we have to sometimes help other people see that we belong there and that we are valuable, right? When we know we're valuable, but we have to make sure other people see it. We are nurturers by nature, right? Things touch us and hit us in ways that it won't always touch and hit men. And that's okay. We're different creatures. That's fine, right? But we are always pouring from our cup. We have to make sure that we refill that cup. And if we can get to a place where that cup can overflow and we are actually serving from the saucer, oh, y'all. Yeah, that's the place I'm trying to get to. I am trying to get to the place where I can serve from my salsa. That's another sermon. JJ, tell your preacher to preach that one. Yeah, serving from my salsa. Yeah, that just hit me. Yeah. So, how many of you all think that you are good at refilling your cup? And let me tell you what that looks like. It looks like you, when you get information, when you get a good word, when you get encouragement, when you get resources, you hold it for you for a minute before you give it away. How many of us are good at holding it for ourselves for a minute? I am not. That is not something that I have been great at in the past. I am working on it. I am getting there. But usually, when I hear a good word or when I get good encouragement or somebody tells me about some resources, 4 or 5 people at least pop up in my head that I need to share it with. Right. I had a acupuncturist, not my current acupuncturist, but my old acupuncturist used to tell me, because she would give me good stuff, y'all. She would say good stuff and she would gather me all the way together all the time. And I would be laying on the table with needles wherever, like in my face or in my arm or wherever. And she would be giving me a good word. And I'd be like, ooh, hand me my cell phone. Because I need to share that with sis. Or hand me my phone. Let me make sure I tell Kevin that Kevin needs to make sure he comes in. And she stopped me one day. She said, "Can you get it first? Can you just hold on to it before you try to give it to husband and sister and brother and friend and postdocs and clients and whoever else?" She said, "Just hold on to it for a little bit for yourself." And y'all, that's what refilling your cup is. You need to take in some of this goodness, some of this nourishment for yourself. And then once you have been filled with it, then you give it out to other folks. So, y'all, I will say I'm working on that for me. Okay. Glennie said, Miss Nichols, the motivational speaker, had a quote: "What overflows from my cup is for you." Yes. And what's in my cup is for me. Yes, ma'am. And again, like I said, we know that we routinely pour from our cups. So y'all, that's one of my goals. I am trying to serve from my salsa. Yeah, living in overflow. Come on, Jay. My folks that's a Baptist without being Baptist. JJ, she's not Baptist, but she is. It's in her heart. Yeah, that's a whole word, living in the overflow. Yeah. Yeah, Sora Pam said meditate on it first. Exactly. Yeah, we have to take it in first for ourselves, right? Get from it what God has for you to get from it, and then ask him what he wants you to do with it. Cause sometimes, y'all, we be trying to sow seeds on ground that's not fertile. Y'all remember the parable in the Bible, right? When you sowing seeds, if you sowing it on unfertile ground, nothing good is gonna come from that. And so now you spent your effort, might have spent your time, your talent, and your tithes, and it's not on fertile ground. So when God gives you something, take it in for you, see what it is he wants you to do with it for you, and then ask him where he wants you to then disseminate it, how he wants you to give it out. Y'all, that is something that I have loved about this, about doing Dr. CC Says. Y'all, a lot of times it'll be the beginning of the week and I'll be like, "God, what you want me to say to the people this week? What we talking about this week?" And he'll drop some in my spirit. And so, like today, I already knew I wanted to talk about self-care. And then a couple of things happened today. And I told my husband, I said, "Oh, he wanted me to make sure that I talked about self-care today." He made sure that I was fired up and ready to have this talk tonight. So, y'all, listen. Take in what God is giving you and then ask him what else he wants you to do with it. I see y'all in the chat. Yeah. Yeah. So, self-care mindset, number one, we have to know that we deserve it, right? We have to know that we need to take care of ourselves. That's a requirement. It's not optional. We have to know that we deserve every good thing, right? And we have to know that we are valuable just like our work is valuable, just like our impact is valuable, right? And we have to set good boundaries. Okay. Now, y'all, it was some other stuff that I talked to the Hopkins folks about, and what I'm probably gonna do is a self-care workshop after the conference. We're gonna wait till I get on the other side of the conference, but I'm probably gonna do a self-care workshop because I really think people don't understand that self-care is not just about getting your nails done and going and getting a massage. Self-care is about how you think about you. Self-care is about self-love. Self-care is about making sure that you are living while you're waiting. Self-care is about understanding that you deserve every good and perfect gift that God has. That's what self-care is really about. Yeah. Who's preacher real good? Yeah, y'all listen. He gave me a word today, and it was confirmed through some situations that occurred, that we really need to work on how we see ourselves, how we understand what it is that God has for us to do, and then how we communicate that to others. Okay. All right. Yeah. Hey, Miss Ellen. She said, I'm just like that. I'll share a message in a heart. Yeah, and then meditate on it. Right. Miss Ellen, we're going to switch that. You're going to meditate first, and then you share it when God tells you to share it. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So, y'all, that's all I got for y'all tonight. Thank you all for interacting with me. I hope you all learned a little bit something new about self-care, or if you already knew this about self-care mindset, that you got some confirmation and you are excited about working on your self-care. Okay. And so, y'all, we will continue with Dr. CC Says over in April. I will let you know what dates and what special guests we'll have. But until then, y'all be blessed.